Welcome to the Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here with me today because we are unpacking a topic that is just profoundly important, yet, rarely spoken about out loud. If you spent years immersed in doctoral research, you already know that the PhD itself is an incredibly demanding mountain to climb. But what happens when you finally reach the summit? Today, we're exploring the core themes of a deeply insightful text called Beyond the Dissertation. We're going to examine the hidden psychological toll of finishing a PhD and, honestly, more importantly, how to treat your degree not as a final destination, but as a launching pad to build a truly purposeful life. If you've been feeling a bit lost after the monumental effort of your defense, I really want you to know you aren't alone. Let's look at exactly why that is and how to navigate what comes next. Okay, let's dive right into this with a quote directly from the source material that just hits the nail on the head. There is no ovation for the solitude, the revisions, the years of unseen labor. I mean, wow, this is such a powerful validation of the grueling, often completely invisible journey you've been on. For years, your world has been defined by mental exhaustion, working alone late into the night, and that relentless cycle of writing, getting feedback, and rewriting. It's a monumental intellectual feat for sure, but it's characterized by unseen labor. Nobody is watching you read those hundreds of papers or wrestle with complex data sets. It's a quiet, solitary grind. And that sets up a very unique psychological dynamic for what actually happens at the finish line. Which brings us to Section 1, the ceremony no one throws, exploring the invisible nature of intellectual labor. Now, you might be wondering, why does it feel so weird when it's over? Well, everyone warns you that the PhD is the hard part, and it absolutely is, but no one really prepares you for the immediate aftermath. The core problem here is the sheer lack of external validation for an internal intellectual triumph. Just think about how society traditionally celebrates big achievements. When an athlete crosses a finish line, there's the roar of a stadium, right? When undergraduates complete their degrees, they walk across a brightly lit stage in caps and gowns, surrounded by cheering families and all that fanfare. Now contrast that with the doctoral defense. The exact moment you officially transform from a candidate into a doctor doesn't happen with fireworks. It happens in the sterile, echoey quiet of a conference room. It's witnessed by, a handful of committee members? You get a few polite handshakes, some smiles, and then, everyone just moves on. The stark contrast between the absolute magnitude of your accomplishment and the quietness of the ceremony can leave you feeling completely disoriented. And that leads directly into a highly unsettling phase. Section 2. The silent graduation, where we navigate the quiet aftermath. And this brilliantly illustrates a phenomenon our source material calls the silent graduation. It is the quiet, bewildering transition from becoming to being. Think about it. For years, you were striving. You were becoming a doctor. Every single day had a singular driving purpose aimed at one clear goal. Now you find yourself standing on the other side of that massive achievement, and suddenly you just are. You are being. But there's no obvious next step. It is incredibly jarring to shift gears from high-stakes striving to a sudden echoing stillness. It's completely, absolutely normal if you feel totally bewildered by this transition. Let's break down the harsh realities of this transition outside the ivory tower. Because suddenly, the rules change. First off, the job markets are totally unpredictable. The incredibly specialized skills you honed inside academia don't always come with an automatic pre-packaged set of directions for the outside world. Second, without the constant feedback loop of academic accolades and committee approvals, it's super common to experience shrinking self-worth. You're no longer being graded or reviewed in the same structured way. And finally, that next chapter, the one everyone at family dinners just assumes you have perfectly figured out, is often frustratingly blank. You have the degree, but the blueprint for what to actually do with it, that's completely missing. Now we enter the most difficult chasm. Section 3, free but unmoored, standing in open space. The text perfectly captures this heavy, disorienting feeling. The scaffolding disappears. You are left in open space, free but unmoored. I want you to really think about that word, scaffolding. For years, the university, your advisors, your tight deadlines, your research parameters, they formed this massive, tight scaffolding around your life. It held your days together, it gave you structure, and the very moment those polite handshakes happen in that sterile conference room, all of that scaffolding just instantly vanishes. You're absolutely free, yes, but you're also unmoored. You're floating in an unpredictable open space. The profound sense of loss and unpredictability you might be feeling right now, that is a direct result of that missing structure. But listen, we are definitely not going to leave you floating in open space. Let's look at Section 4, Achievement to Alignment, Rebuilding a Life of Meaning. So the crucial point here is making a fundamental mindset shift. For the last several years, your life has been firmly rooted in achieving, securing titles, chasing academic success, driving a really narrow career focus. But surviving and actually thriving in the aftermath of a PhD requires consciously shifting toward alignment. This means pivoting your focus toward personal fulfillment, finding deep meaning completely outside of an institutional framework, and engaging in the real work of figuring out who you are beyond your research. This shift is literally the ultimate strategy for navigating this uncertain terrain. And what makes this framework so incredibly valuable is that it's not just abstract, pie-in-the-sky theory. These insights are built on the intertwined stories of three distinct scholars who navigated the exact same messy, beautiful aftermath of doctoral completion that you are facing right now. By grounding these strategies in reality, the book proves that it's entirely possible to successfully rebuild your scaffolding and find your alignment, no matter how unmoored you currently feel. If you want to dive deeper into the full stories of those three scholars and get your hands on the complete framework, you can order your own copy of Beyond the Dissertation by emailing thrivemall@yahoo.com. And hey, if you're finding this explainer helpful in mapping out your own post-PhD transition, please take a quick second to like this explainer, share it with a colleague who might be defending soon, and subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives. I want to leave you with one final provocative thought as we wrap up today's explainer. The title no longer shields you. So what will you choose to build in the open space? The silence after the defense is very real, but it's also a blank canvas. Your PhD was just the beginning. It's a powerful launching pad. The real work, the beautiful work of building a purposeful, aligned life, that starts right now. Thank you so much for joining me, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what you choose to build.